since we have the two items, if there's no objections, could we do the industrial park presentation first?
I appreciate you letting me go first tonight. I might get home and type so much tomatoes before dark. But Ronnie Price and I work together with Hawkins County, Holston Business Development, and the city of Kingsport and Sullivan County. This project is an opportunity that, as Mayor Lee said, doesn't come along very often. We've been working with BAE for a few months, even late last year, to discuss developing almost 160 acres along the frontage area of 11W in Hawkins County. We have a map that we'll show here in a moment that'll show the acreage and how much is in the county and how much is in the city. But we appreciate you taking the time and letting us go first to share this. You'll go to the next slide here. If not, you have it there in your, we left a copy there for you. The second page, there we go. So you can see the armory is there on the west end of the property, which would be on the left of the screen, and then the main gate. And that's the area, that yellow is a little bigger than the area, but I wanted to make sure and get the whole area of what is being considered for the park. The current contractor that operates the Holston Army Ammunition Plant is BAE. So they have approached us and met with us, their property coordinator, and asked us to look at this and to form a partnership between the municipalities and BAE. BAE currently has around 900 employees, and the three bidders that are looking at bidding on the project this fall would be BAE, General Dynamics, and Day & Zimmerman. That's three large contractors that are bidding for the opportunity to operate this facility. That will not change this project. This project will be coordinated by the on-site contractor, but will be managed and helped paid for by the Army itself. So once it's in the process, it does not matter if you see a change in the contractor that operates the site. Go to the next slide, please. So there's the 160 acres. You can see the yellow hatched area. That's the 14 acres that are in the city limits. The rest of it is from all of it's in Hawkins County, but 14 acres of it is actually in the city. The blue line there is the urban growth boundary that was set years ago, and that is approximately 51 acres would be inside the urban growth boundary. But this gives us great access to the project. If you'll go to the next slide. I tried to keep it short. That way we have room for questions for you also. So we went to the Kingsport Economic Development Board back in the winter before the leaves come on because we wanted to get a survey. We did not want to wait till next year to do a survey. We want to be able to do an aerial one. So the Kingsport Industrial Development Board has already paid for it, and we have in hand a survey of the entire property. So the proposal, when we met last week, we met with Commissioner DeWitt, Mayor Lee at the Holston Business Development Board meeting, which Hawkins County and Kingsport are equal partners in Holston Business Development, to discuss how to share this. And the proposal was we need around $60,000 to do the design work, and we would be willing, would offer that we split that equally, $30,000 by the city and $30,000 by the county. And what that will allow us to do, if we can get the design work, then BAE will present to the Army, as you'll see here in just a moment, and the Army is looking at paying for all the grading and site development on that. So as you see under partnerships there, it says BAE will submit the plans. Our part would be just get the engineering done. Bar Solutions has already done work on the site in years past on other projects, so we got a budget from them for professional design services. And then there's also Networks has already done a tremendous amount of work on this, getting this designated as the Tennessee Select site, which means it's already been reviewed by the State Economic Development Department, and that it has utilities, it has power, it has the need to make this into a good industrial park that will benefit the county and the city. So the benefits, with this $60,000 investment, we would be able to get a site of roughly 160 acres developed. It would have rail on it, and then obviously it would bring jobs with that as it is developed. Total investment by the Army will be well over $5 million. And the timeline will be that it would be in the Army's it would be presented for the Army's next fiscal year budget, which starts, their process is a little later in the year, around October. So that is when the request will go to the Army. BAE feels pretty comfortable in their discussions with the Army that they can get this done if we will partner with them for the $60,000 to do that. And I would be happy to answer any questions, and again, thank you for your time.
Another question, like the acreage of the city of Kingsport versus the urban growth,
Yes, sir.
is it all going to be like industrial maybe in one, or can it be separated like for the business versus industry? How they going to do that, or who mandates that?
BAE, their requirements are it has to remain industrial. It can't be high density business like a strip center or a motel or something like that.
Maybe fast food or
Right, it has to be warehousing and light industry or transportation, because they don't want a motel sitting right there
to
beside.
utilize the river and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And on top of that, the city and the board meeting also has committed, they do not intend on annexing any more than the 14 acres that's already there.
That's my next question.
I beat you to it, and I didn't mean to, but that was said publicly by the city manager at the board meeting.
To take away from Hawkins County, so that'll be just Kingsport and the rest.
14 acres is what the city has committed to, and the balance would stay in Hawkins County.
I have a question for Eric. Eric,
Yep, I'm here.
do we need to add that 30,000 to the budget?
Not tonight.
Okay.
No motion's being made tonight, but I would recommend to keep the money flowing as quickly as possible if this is something that the commission would like to consider adding to our capital projects budget. That's a budget that we haven't tapped into very often, and I think this would be an appropriate use for such if the committee wanted to support this part.
The recommendation would be is the city and the county would provide the money to Holston Business Development, and they would engage Barge Wagner as the professional to do the design, since we're already in a partnership there.
Will the industry locations there be taxable?
The property tax is federal property, so the property is not taxable. The personal property would be, and Ronnie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the vertical construction would be taxable. The land is not taxable. It has not, nor can it be, because it's on federal property.
It's 25 years and another 25-year option on the lease. That's what it does. So if you wanted to go there, you're sure of 50 years.
Federal government does not sell land on these, but the businesses that would be interested in working near there are used to that process. And so they give the banks comfort, know they can do it for 50 years on it. I believe you had another question?
That's one of the things about the leases working on. So like, and if they went up, do they put clauses in there where the lease will break? If something went under?
I'm not familiar enough with the Army's
What I'm
lease.
saying, yeah, to release the liabilities for us.
The liability for who?
Like the county, if they sign the lease a long term,
The lease will be between the company and the military. We will be completely out of it. The only thing we are committing to, we are helping BAE with engineering funds to get an industrial park developed. That is the ask, and all the other funds will be between the Army and the customer.
BAE gonna maintain the property, the roads, fix that roads and stuff?
The roads would be maintained like in a normal industrial park, which would be typically in a park, if it's private like this would be, because it's not, we would have to see if it could be public roads, which I don't believe it can be on the federal side. So you would do it like an HOA, that's a bad word to some people, but the business that locate there would be responsible for maintaining the road. Yes, sir.
Since we met, I had somebody ask a question, excuse me, about would this pull from Phipps Bend plant, or Phipps Bend Industrial Park, because it's not full yet. But basically, just wanted to clarify to everybody that Phipps Bend and this place are really two different types of developments. What could go in Phipps Bend may not go here, and what could go here would not go in Phipps Bend. So they're complementary is what I just want to stress.
They do complement each other, and what this allows for Hawkins County to happen is we have an industrial park that's closer to an interstate than what Phipps Bend is. So other companies have requirements being, they want to be within so much of a 4-lane interstate or a 4-lane highway. So it allows us to meet more requirements of potential customers. No guarantee when we go to do something.
But if you have like a heavy industrial development, that wouldn't go there. So Phipps Bend would be the place for it versus.
That is correct. They do not want a high intensity people that like I said, motel on the private side,
Right.
but they want light industrial and warehousing and transportation.
I just had that question from somebody, so I just want to clarify.
Sure. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I was always under the understanding that the Army didn't want nothing over in there. What happened? What changed their mind?
There's a 4-star general way up the line that has passed it down to all his sub-commands that we need to help the Army be more efficient and modernized, and to use all the property possible to help facilitate these individual plants being successful. With the economy and cost of goods, the Army's budget gets affected also. So this allows the local plant, this money, what's good about the way they're proposing to do it is this type of lease, the money that would flow back from leases and stuff stays here in Hawkins County and supports that plant. And so that's why the Army has decided to do that, as they see the need to be more business friendly. Yes, sir.
John, the only entrance would be the main gate that holds them now, where it is now, that'd be the main.
This would not have to go through the main gate. This will be outside the fence. They would move the fence back. Under that yellow line is a perimeter road, and the fence would actually be moved back. They would not have to go through the gate to work on the property, which gives a lot more flexibility for private industry. Great question.
So, okay, you said that the businesses that we would be targeting here would complement those in Phipps Bend. So, who are we targeting? What are our possible customers? When I say customers, what are our possible businesses that might be built in this area?
Ryan, you can speak up once I give a couple. There is other businesses that could complement BAE's work or future contractors' work, whether it be BAE that gets a new contract or General Dynamics or whoever. And so this gives them flexibility to have places outside the gate to have businesses that complement also what BAE's doing. And that would be a great benefit to this end of the county and citizens.
Jason, you're looking at warehousing, light assembly type things that they would sub out to those type of businesses.
And this, we might not be this far along, but there's a lot of studies that go into building facilities like this and building projects like this. Number one, do we have an idea of what the cost, profit, benefit, would be to the cost analysis for the county? And number two, have there been any studies done on the employees that are actually going to work these? We're kind of in a situation right now where we're having trouble finding people to work in places that we already have. Are we going to be able to support other businesses with employees?
Housing is a problem nationwide, but with what we're seeing on, especially the west end of town, the amount of housing developments that are happening on the east end of Hawkins County and the west end is helping with growth. In June, 101 families moved to Kingsport city limits. That's not anywhere, but we track the city. So we're seeing an increase in population that will help that. But a lot of these businesses are interested in a business-friendly climate and business-friendly climate, sorry. They're seeing that sometimes the people move their business, just like businesses move, or corporate headquarters and the people move with them. We don't have a set number of people or what analysis would be. I wanted to do an estimate, maybe an X size of building would generate this much taxes, but I would be guessing, and I hate having to retract and lower a number, But this $60,000 investment can get us an industrial park that if just one building goes up in it, that's $30,000 from the county, 30 is repaid very, very quickly with the ROI on that could be tremendous. If you look at it, just what the Army's willing, that BAE's willing to ask the Army to do versus us, that 60,000 is around 1% of the low end estimate. So that we get that amount of work done, the return on investment is big.
So there would be like no major recurring expenses as far as the county goes. This first upfront investment would pretty much be it.
It's private industry. We have met with all the utility providers. They are, we've met with Hawkins County Gas, Holston Electric, and they are all able to serve the site. So it's not a cost to the city. There's not really roads for the city or county to maintain. It's right there on the base, but it gives a place for people to build buildings close to an interstate and to a large corporation.
So compared to like Phipps Bend right now, we're not at full capacity in Phipps Bend Road.
Oh, there's probably 200 acres, 250, and we got one big side, 100 acres. And you got a lot of smaller sides, but it's a little over half full, I would say.
Okay, so
But this would complement each other. You know, it's like you're selling cars. You got several different makes and models. You got a better chance of selling some of those.
sure.
And this is just a unique opportunity here.
Yeah, and I think it is unique. I guess my question comes from, and maybe I'm answering my own question, but it sounds like the businesses that you're looking at that may move into this area are going to kind of work in concert with BAE, which means it's a mutual benefit. They're going to be there and selling their product and have their own, agreement set up. I guess the concern that I've got is that we have an industrial park that functions a little differently, but it's we'd love to put more industry in there. We can't right now. And are we going to be able to realistically invest? While it's a pretty nominal amount of money overall in our budget, but are we going to be able to invest this money and actually have businesses that are going to want to come, and are they going to do business in this area?
I think I'll go back to something I said earlier. For the small investment, we have another tool in our toolbox, back to what Ronnie says, offer to, it's like some people want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, others want a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house. I just want to be on myself by the farm with nobody around, right? But by having multiple size sites and locations, it gives Hawkins County and Kingsport more tools to reach out to additional customers. The more options we have, the better when it comes to land size and especially location. That the benefit we get here is location.
Proximity to the interstate.
That's the big one we get hit on all the time.
And John, I might add too, we've been working trying to acquire this land since, 2007? Is that right, Ronnie, am I close?
We started when BAE took over, trying to get some development there, and as Keith's question, we just tried to get them to move the fence back 300 or 400 feet so we could have commercial down there. But they never wanted to do anything. But evidently this 4-star general said, hey, y'all need to generate more revenue, and they're willing to do this.
So, the time just happened to be right for this to go.
If the right person was in charge that saw the need, and we're fortunate to be at this place to be able to work.
Got a question.
Yes.
Up in the federal property, do they put like maybe an incentive, like for the development for the industry to come, and on the personal property tax, it still would be taxed the same if they put an incentive on the real property?
I'm not aware of a federal incentive that could do that.
The municipality's done that.
And then
maybe get them to come.
Your personal property is a negotiated thing that would, you're familiar with how they do it in industrial parks more than me, is if it was a pilot or something that had to be brought to your industrial development board to look at. Or through your Phipps Bend partnership, it would not be something that could just be done without a board approval.
And then it's just the personal property tax, basically the same as a declared value.
Every house assessed, yes, sir.
Okay. I've got one question myself, but I want to wait till everybody else answers theirs, since to fill in as chairman, I have to be careful. But my question basically involves the traffic flow patterns up there, which I'm from the 2nd District, Churchill, but this is further east from my district. But I know up there through the Allendale section in the mornings and in the evenings, traffic backs up through that section quite a bit. Is there any plans regarding the potential traffic flow issues?
We have asked
of
the
park?
design, we've asked the design group for us to look at that as the site plans are being developed, to see if it would require another intersection. But it would be based on what industry decides to relocate there or to locate there as to the traffic need. If it's warehousing, you're adding trucks in and out, which VA already has access. Even though we would be going through the main gate, you still use that red light to get to it. But if the site extends, there's a potential, and we've asked them to look at what the requirements would be to do additional entrances on 11W. But that would have to go through TDOT, and they would look at that through a traffic study or plan.
Okay.
But we have talked to the design professional about that.
Do you know what the traffic count is, 20-some thousand? What?
It's in the high 20s, the last one I looked at.
That's what I-
27 to 29,000 is the ones I've seen.
That's what okay.
Past that next year.
It's easy.
Yeah, I remember that. Anything else?
Jim?
We appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you.